Let the meltdown begin. MMA Meltdown on the Fight Network. I am Gabriel Morency. Let's do this thing. London shoot fighter style as we're sending it across the pond on tonight's edition of MMA Meltdown. As we're going to talk with the badass that is kicking ass in Bellator. He's made quite a name for himself considering he only has one fight in North America. And I'm talking about Michael Venom Page. And it's appropriate that he's in the UK because you know what? One of my favorite bands of all time, a British heavy metal band called Venom. Michael Page also goes by MVP. And man, this guy's an electrifying fighter. I look forward to bringing him on in a moment's time. Reed Kuhn's going to join us as well. We're going to break down UFC Fight Night after a 3-week hiatus. The UFC returns, and Ryan Bader at OSP, the main event. This is a pretty tricky card. This is a pretty tricky card to wager on, actually. I look at this card, and I'm like, man, I kind of like this guy, but I'm not really sure. You know, Gray Maynard's a friend of the program and actually a personal friend of mine, and I don't say that often. I'm not, you know, one of these MMA media guys that tries to become buddies with everybody. You know, I used to be buddies with everybody, and I'd bet on my buddies, and I'd lose my money. Now I'm a cold-ass MF, man. I just bet on who I think is going to win, even if I'm close to a fighter. And I love Gray Maynard. I want Gray Maynard to win, but is Gray Maynard going to win? I don't know. Should Brad Tavares be such a big favorite like he is against Tim Boetsch? I don't know. Reed Kuhn's going to join us, so we're going to break it down. We'll get his expert analysis, Fightnomics.com style. But without further ado, let's send it to the UK, where the man that they call Venom, and justifiably so. He's 6-0. He's a world kickboxing champion, 6-0. He made his North American debut at the Bellator pay-per-view, and he knocked out Ricky Rainey in the first round. Everybody was wondering, who's this Michael Page guy, and why is he a 5-1 favorite? Well, we found out why he was a 5-1 favorite with his performance. Let's bring in Venom right now. Michael, welcome to the program, man. Thanks a lot for taking the time to be with us. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm glad to be here.
You know, we're stoked to have you on, man. I was really excited by watching you fight. And, you know, I know you've got a kickboxing and a karate background, but when I saw your fight against Ricky Rainey, and, you know, I've seen videos of your fights before, but that was the first fight that I watched live at the moment. Yeah. You sort of reminded me more of a younger Floyd Mayweather, you know, or a Roy Jones in his prime. You had that boxing swagger. I know you're a kickboxer, karate, but you know, are you a Floyd guy? Were you a Roy Jones Jr. guy? Because it comes off in the cage, man.
Yeah, no, obviously both of those guys. You know, there's so many different people that inspire me in my fighting style. I just get inspiration from everything. I'll look at films like a Jackie Chan film or something random and just get inspired by it and be like, I'm gonna try something. I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna try this. So yeah, my inspiration comes from a lot of different places.
Now I know that one of the biggest influences was your father that was on you, and you know there's some fighters we look. You know, I guess in the UK it's soccer. There's a lot of soccer dads. The crazy guys that are betting, my kid's going to score a goal for England. And, you know, here in Canada, you got the crazy hockey dads. But I see more and more, there's fighters who are mentored by their father and who have trained with their fathers. And there's a long list of guys. And you're one of these guys, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. Obviously, my dad dedicated his life to the martial arts. So he's well-traveled as well, so he's done a lot for a lot of different people. So, yeah, you would have.
Now, when we talk about boxing and, you know, the boxers that I mentioned, boxing is very popular in England, obviously. And in Europe, boxing selling out soccer stadiums. You know, what led you into mixed martial arts as opposed to boxing where potentially the big money would have been awaiting you?
To be fair, it was more when I actually made the decision to do something different. That was the first thing. I kind of said to myself, I want to come out of kickboxing. I want to start to look for something with a bit more exposure. And to be fair, the first thing I was thinking was boxing. I've actually got a friend that's in boxing already, but he said there's a lot of politics involved in it, and that's one of the reasons why I left the kickboxing as well. So I was thinking, okay, I don't want to go from one thing I wasn't really enjoying because of straight into another. I was thinking of the K1 stuff, but again I was like, you know, that's too similar to what I was already doing. I kind of wanted to do something completely different, and that's what led me to, try MMA. And the second I did it, I just fell in love with the whole thing. Just being a student again, having to learn all the different art, and just performing. So everything just felt right.
And you look at mixed martial arts with Bellator, with the UFC. There's probably 600, 700 fighters or so. A lot of good fighters. It's hard to distinguish yourself, isn't it? And people sort of forget it's entertainment. And I would rather a guy that entertains inside the cage than runs his mouth outside the cage, but then fights cautiously and boring inside of it. You seem to be more soft-spoken and humble outside, but you like to put a show on inside. Are you putting on a show partially because you want to entertain the fans? Or, some people say you're showing up your opponent, and people want to see you get, your head taken off. Why do you fight the way that you do? Are you trying to show up your opponent, or are you trying to entertain the people?
To be fair, it's not. To be fair, it's nothing to do with my opponent. It's me. Obviously, if my opponent's able to stop me or prevent me from doing what I do, then cool. That's what he should be in there, trying to do. But for me, I'm just going there and I'm doing me. And a big part of me is being a showman. To be fair, I say this in everything. Like, no matter what I do, I'd be a showman. Like, I could be in absolutely anything. I remember being in my secondary school, high school, first dance. And, when you're that kind of young, all the girls are on one side, all the boys are on the other side. No one wants to, really kind of get involved. And I was the only person standing in the middle of the dance floor. And I just didn't care. Anytime I'm in a position where there's eyes on me, I'm happy. And I'll put on a show, and I'm glad. I'm a joker as well. I like to, make people laugh. It's just me. It's just my character coming out in my fighting style.